Hi AD, my name's Colleen's Manga Rex and welcome to my manga shelf tour. This is my bathroom. Let's go ahead and go over there, come on. Hello and welcome back to my manga shelf tour. I've done this once before. It was like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now. And while not much has changed about my collection, there is also a lot that has changed. And I know a few people were really wanting me to do an updated manga collection. And while I don't think my collection in general is very different, I do think how I have organized things is different. I've added an extra shelf. I now have a magazine shelf. So we'll get into all of that. Other than that, welcome to my manga shelf tour. As I just said, this collection isn't too different from the first time I showed you guys this. At least the one behind me isn't too different. These are still the same shelves that I've always had. I got these from Target. They were like 30 bucks. Much cheaper than the Billy Bookshelf ones, I think. I do feel like they're a little limiting sometimes, and I do kind of wish I had a Billy Bookshelf. However, they get the job done, and really, what more can you ask for? For those who don't know my history of being an anime and manga fan, I have been into it since like 2006, 2007. But the thing is, my entire collection is mostly from 2020 when I got back into anime and manga. When I went off to college, I ended up selling most of my manga, which I still deeply regret to this day. I had quite a bit of series, but yeah, I sold those off because I thought I wasn't into anime and manga anymore. I would say I've probably read about 90% of my manga. The only other series I haven't really read are ones that came out in digital first that are catching up in their physical forms. So that would be like A Condition Called Love. But I do plan on rereading series like that eventually. Last thing is, I started to log my manga on this thing called the Bookshelf app. Shout out to my friends for telling me about it. I had kept getting duplicates of manga and my husband kept going, Colleen, you need to log your manga. But then I was told about this Bookshelf app. It's been super useful. It scans the ISBN of all the books that you buy. And this app is how I know that I have 823 books in my collection. Going shelf by shelf, let's go ahead and talk about how I've categorized everything. First up, we have the top left shelf. Technically, this is just the supernatural shoujo shelf, or monsters and creatures and demons and whatnot shelf. There is one series that kind of doesn't really fit on here though, and you'll see that in a second, but it's mostly just because I didn't have any space on the shelf it should have gone on, so I kind of had to just put it here. This shelf is mostly dedicated to supernatural series. Some of them have horror elements, some of them have action elements, but in general, they're like kind of real world settings that have supernatural things in them. So that's why Queen's Quality is here, Ceres is here, Please Save My Earth is here. We have a couple monster adjacent ones like Illustrated Guide to Monster Girls and Bride of Deimos, as well as Children of the Whales, which I actually only just recently found volume 1 for half price at Half Price Books. One of my big collector's tips is always check thrift bookstores. They will surprise you with what they have. I actually found these 3 volumes of Bride of Deimos for like $5 each at a Half Price Books. Always check a thrift bookstore. You will be surprised by what you can find. So Max and Jamie from my Patreon had similar questions about how I make room for everything. I actually don't get rid of series if I run out of room. The thing is, with the Viz app, I have gotten rid of series when I feel like they take up too much room and I don't feel bad for getting rid of them. So this was a case for Dawn of the Arcana as well as King's Beast. I do enjoy both of those series. I just didn't want to keep collecting it because, you know, Viz raised their prices recently. And of course, I have to show off these covers for Bride of Deimos. I was so excited when I saw this. I had never seen it in the wild before, and I've already read all 3 volumes. The shelf right below it is kind of the Lala sibling shelf. I always think Natsume's and Snow White with the red hair are basically like each other's brother and sister, and that's kind of for two different reasons. They both come from the magazine Lala, which is one of my favorite shoujo magazines. However, the fact that they both come from it, they're both kind of iyashikei, they're a little like fantasy supernatural adjacent. They just give me the same vibes, and I definitely feel like they're siblings with each other. Now, one thing I love about this shelf is I have a lot of little like trinkets for these series. We have the Nyanko little wallet case that I got from Surugaya? Surugaya, I think that's what you call it. They often have free shipping. If you guys are looking for Japanese goods that you cannot find anywhere else, and they have a free shipping day, definitely go to that website. I'll kind of put it right here. I also have this little Zen acrylic, this little Natsume acrylic. They came free with one of the magazines that I bought them in, one of the Lala magazines, so that's where I got these. They're so cute. And then we also have Natsume art book. And then, surprise, surprise, if we move this Natsume art book, you have some Kami-sama Kiss here. I actually just recently found volumes 5, 6, and 7 for pretty cheap, and now I have volumes 1 through 8. And I have been trying to whittle away the volumes of this series for a while now because they are so hard to collect. There's 27 of them, I think, so I've just been doing it very slowly. However, I have volumes 1 through 8 now. I'm very proud of that, at the very least. So, Kami-sama Kiss isn't from Lala, it is from Hanato Yume. Hanato Yume and Lala are sister magazines, and Kami-sama Kiss kind of fits in with these two, so I put it here. You'll also notice now that I have changed my shelves up a little bit, where they have volumes facing outwards, which has given me a lot more space, surprisingly. I didn't think it would. It's just like clear bookends. I saw someone else do this. I can't remember where I saw it. They like posted it on Twitter maybe, and I was like, how did they do that? And then I realized it was just clear bookshelf ends. So I went ahead and did it myself. And I really like how it looks. It gives it kind of a bookstore feel. And it also allows me to show off some pretty covers. On my YouTube community tab, Purple Brick Films asked if missing volumes bother me, and for the most part, I would say no. I will say though, and the reason why I'm bringing it up on this little portion is the fact that the missing volumes for Natsume's bothers the hell out of me, and it's because it's so many just random volumes. But like for Kami-sama Kiss, I don't care if I don't have the missing volumes there, because I have volumes 1 through 8, no biggie. Now, third shelf down, we have the Josei shelf, which is pretty lackluster. There's not many Josei titles that are available physically in print. We have some incredible titles on here, if I do say so myself. You might already be thinking, why is Kageki Shoujo here? It's a shoujo. However, it could also be classified as a Josei. It really depends on the kind of person you are. If you guys don't know, Kageki Shoujo and Oku are in the same magazine or from the same magazine. So technically they're both shoujo. However, Melody Magazine, which is where they're from, advertised itself as a shoujo magazine for adult women. So it's one of those cases where it's like, call it whatever you want, I don't really care. But since I did put Oku on this shelf, I thought I needed to put Kageki Shoujo here too, because, you know, they go together. They're from the same magazine. Another anomaly you might see, we have Rose of Versailles in that corner. Yes, Rose of Versailles is a shoujo. However, once again, it is an oversized book. It is hardcover, it's big, it's not really gonna fit anywhere else on these shelves. I did actually have it in a different area for a little bit along with Oku, but then it didn't really work out for when I got these new clear bookshelf ends. So it goes in the Josei section just for the fact that it's an oversized book. Two other things, they're also anomalies. Not a lot of the ones on here are like strictly Josei. In this corner, I have my 2 LGBTQ autobiographical series. Neither of them are Josei. I don't think My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness is a Josei, But I know for a fact that Until I Love Myself is definitely not. It's a seinen. Both of those series are very good. I highly recommend, especially Until I Love Myself. Such a good manga. Made me cry several times. I related deeply to it. Highly recommend if you guys want to understand the non-binary, ex-gender kind of thought process throughout your life. So I really like that one. It gave me some clarity, you know? And that's what a good autobiographical manga should do. So for this Josei's shelf, I would say most of the series on here I paid full price for. That is, except for the volumes 1 through 6 of Oku. I found that at a half price books, and that was super fucking cool. I also obviously already said the Kageki Shoujo volumes were half price. The only other ones that were half price and not full price were that volume of In the Clothes Called Fat by Moyoko Ano, and these volumes of Rosa Versailles. My good friend Fatima bought both of them for me, and I was so thankful because look how gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. And then we also have 2 volumes of Namita Ameto Serenade. Someone please license this. And then we also have the Ferrari Girl Mangaka's New Smut series. And then, of course, Until I Love Myself. We'll do the bottom shelves last, so let's go ahead and go over to this shelf now. The first row of the left shelf is meant to be the historical shoujo series. Technically, none of these are historical. They're all kind of fantastical versions of history. They have some sort of fantastical element to it. They are historical. So there's only 3 series here, and it's because of the fact that all of them are quite long and I own quite a bit of both of them. And then I have the entirety of Requiem of the Rose King because it's a new shoujo, so it's easier to get my hands on the entire thing. But anyway, since these are so long, I couldn't really fit too much else on this shelf, which is where I would have put Kazehikaru if I could have. However, just not enough room. So the only 3 series on this shelf are Red River, Basara, and Requiem of the Rose King. And I feel like all 3 of those kind of go together, so it works. Funny story about Red River and a bunch of the Basara volumes that I own now. From the last bookshelf tour, someone watched it and was like, oh my gosh, wait, you need some volumes of Basara? I have them. And also I have Red River. So would you like to buy them from me? And I was like, of fucking course. I actually already owned volumes like 1 through 9 of Basara. I found that at a bookstore and I got it for like 35 bucks. Now, as we all know, Chihaya Furu is my favorite series, which is why the second shelf is just entirely Chihaya Furu. It is my Chihaya Furu shelf. It has the entire series on it, some collectible items, the magazines, etc., etc. Not all of my Chihaya Furu stuff is on this shelf because it's kind of a small shelf in general, so I couldn't fit everything on here, so I do have some more stuff over on my desk. We'll get to that in a minute. Now this shelf is the only one I have book risers on. I actually don't have book risers for any of the other ones I've shown so far. They are only stacked on top of each other or single row. And that is because if some of you saw the last video that I did a bookshelf tour for, you may have remembered that I use tissue boxes to double stack my manga. However, there was a incident, if you will, where we got clothes moths in our house. Clothes moth infestation. And those clothes moths got into the tissue boxes, and they got into a lot of other things as well. So what I had to do was throw away all the tissue boxes that I used for book risers, and now I have just been putting off getting book risers again. Because if I got book risers, my God, would it make my life so much easier. I could put something else in this area and not just leave it open. But alas, I have not bought them yet. Anyway, book risers on this shelf. They are from my good friend Steph. I will put a link to her store in the description because she makes book risers from 3D printing and they're really good. Highly recommend you guys check those out. They are sturdy as hell. I've had these for about a year now and they don't even bend in. The tissue boxes, they were bending in whenever I had to throw those away, but these happened. Honestly, let's just sit here and bask in the glory of this beautiful shelf. I spent so long getting all of these Chihayafuru volumes, all these collectibles, and I'm just so happy to have all of it. It's literally my pride and joy. This is the extra booklet that came with the special edition of the last volume, and then right behind it are the 2 magazines with Chihaya on the cover. Also, if you guys don't know, there is currently a spin-off series for Chihayafuru running right now that kind of follows the junior classmates, Sumire, all those kids, and I would like to read it, so Kodansha, please consider licensing it. The last row, before we get to the bottom 2, is my oversized and undersized shoujo shelves. So that is 7 Seas titles. There are also the Japanese versions of different series that have not gotten English releases yet. I think what makes this more interesting is the fact that most of my oversized shoujo are from Kodansha, and if they're not from Kodansha, they're from 7 Seas, so most of the series on this shelf are either Kodansha or 7 Seas. So we have like A Sign of Affection, Gazing at the Star Next Door, In the Clear Moonlit Dusk, and then you have all the undersized shoujo, which are like Cinderella Closet, Girlfriend's Child. So yeah, not much to say about this one. It's mostly just Kodansha 7 Seas shoujo, and then we have the smaller sized Japanese releases, as well as the small sized of the Limit release, which is from Vertical, which is technically still a Kodansha company. Pretty much all of the manga on this shelf are currently ongoing series, so most of these are ones that I have bought for full price, unfortunately. The only one on this shelf that isn't shoujo is that Chasing Spica volume, or Spica, I don't know, in the corner. And then we also have The Moon on a Rainy Night, which is just a GL manga, not like any demographic, I don't think. However, it is so fucking good. If you guys want a good ass Yuri series, this is the one to go to. Please read it, it's so good. Here is a currently running Batsuma manga that I am super enjoying. I really hope we get this in English someday, as well as Futari de Koi wo Suryu. I love this manga, it's so fucking cute, and I also hope we get it in English. And then of course we have Limit from Keiko Suenobu. This is also the mangaka of Life, if you guys know and like that series. I can't wait to collect this entire one. It's such a good manga. And then 2 currently releasing 7 Seas titles that I love. We now interrupt this bookshelf tour with today's sponsor, Walt's Comic Shop. Are you looking for English language manga in the EU? Then look no further than Walt's Comic Shop. They have thousands of manga currently in stock with an inventory that's growing daily. Walt's offers low shipping prices for any EU country on top of their bulletproof packaging and speedy customer support. When you enter the code Colleen's MangaRex at checkout, you'll get free shipping on your first order of 40 euros. You can get series like Tales of the Tendo Family and many more at waltzcomicshop.com. All right, let's go ahead and go to the 2 on the bottom. So I will meet you on the floor. See you there. Oh my gosh, fancy meeting you guys here on the floor where I said I would be. So these are the bottom 2 shelves. I kind of don't like these shelves, at least this one specifically. I have so many of this genre that I just can't get them to look nice because it's just, it feels so full, if that makes sense. So this is kind of my shoujo beat titles and high school romance titles. Because obviously A Condition Called Love and Mars are not from shoujo beat. However, they fit on the shelf. So that's where they go. I'll go ahead and move these cute little postcards that I got from magazines. But yes, so this shelf right here is the bottom left shelf. This one is mostly high school romances, high school romance comedies, high school romance dramedies, high school romance dramas. It's just kind of runs the gamut of high school romance adjacent series. So we have quite a bit of Kimi ni Todoke, Lovesick Ellie, Condition Called Love, Goated, Let's Do It Already, so excited to own this one. And then we have Mars, which fits here genre-wise, but just like aesthetically, it doesn't really fit considering it's gray and everything else is white spine because it's shoujo beat, obviously. Now, the cool thing is, I almost have the entirety of Mars now. I only am missing volumes 11, 12, and 13. And I even found The Horse with No Name, which I think is the prequel for Mars, but I am only 3 volumes away from owning the entire series. I know everyone wants a Mars re-release from Kodansha, but like, I almost own the whole thing. Don't re-release it, I'm gonna have to buy it again. Would they probably look nicer? Yeah, absolutely. These spines are atrocious, and especially that some of them have the stupid old-ass Tokyo Pop label. All of these are just stacked on top of each other, as you can tell. Once again, the clothes moths have just ruined my life. But the clothes moths don't run this city. We do. Except they kind of do, considering the fact that they made me throw out so much shit because they ate through it. So I would say the majority of this shelf, I haven't read the manga volumes. I've read the manga themselves, but I haven't read the volumes that I own. And that's because a lot of them I either read through like the library, like High School Debut or Sand Chronicles, so I haven't read them on the books that I own. Or like I was saying before with Lovesick Ellie and Condition Called Love, those series were out in digital first and I read them digitally, but I wanted to own them, so then I bought the physicals, but I've already read them, so like I haven't read the books that I own of them, but I want to own them for if I want to read them in the future. Alright, so this last shelf is the Hanato Yume Lala shelf Part 2. I don't really see any of these series as being siblings with each other, which is why they don't go in the Natsume Snow White Kami-sama Kiss shelf. They kind of all fit in genre-wise in similar ways. All of the ones behind this are Yono the Dawn, obviously. I don't have much of this series. I think I just have like randomly scattered volumes, 1 and like 16, and then most of 33 to where it is now, which is 41. So I am very far from collecting this entire series, and when or if I ever do, it's going to probably take up an entire shelf itself. So for now, it's just right here, and I'm kind of just holding off on buying more volumes until I have more space. You know what? I said most of these manga go together genre-wise, and now that I'm looking at it, Usatoki Rhetoric and Tales of the Tendo Family do not go with Sacrificial Princess or Yona or Prince Freya. Like, it doesn't really make sense why I said that. These are all just Hanato Yume Lala series. The genres really don't match that much. And then you also have Fast the Monster Meat, which I kind of like stuck in the corner because I didn't have anywhere else to put it. It's a really good series, but it's not from Lala or Hanato Yume, which is why it's kind of covered by the Colette Decides to Die art that I have in front of it. And where you currently see this little Colette star from Germany and this Colette artwork from the Hanato Yume magazine I got, you will find Colette when it comes out in November. I am still so excited for it. Lastly on this shelf you have Japanese copies of series not yet licensed in English, and I of course will have the names on the screen. One thing you're gonna realize real quickly is that I am just constantly out of space for this collection. I do not have the room for all of this. I live in a very small apartment and we're already cluttered as it is. So the fact that I have like an 800 plus manga collection in an already small apartment, we're really just scrambling to find new ways to put books in here. And nowhere is it more apparent that I don't have room than the very bottom of the shelf, where I don't have anything set up, but I just have things kind of stacked on top of each other. You'll notice that the series that are stacked up down here are old Shoujo Beat titles that I just don't have any room to put them anywhere. Because they would technically go here, but I don't have room on this shelf to put them there. I have quite a bit of Boys Over Flowers now. I still haven't read it yet, but I do have more volumes. And I was able to find Crimson Hero, which I love that series so much. This box is mostly just series that I am not actively collecting right now, and I don't have anywhere else to put them. Lots of older Shoujo Beat titles, ones that are not releasing still. We have like La Cordia de Aura in here. BODY, Strobe Edge, Shinobi Life. I actually have 2 more of these boxes. There are 3 boxes in total of these for just random series that I'm not actively collecting, but I need to store somewhere. I don't want to sell them. I don't want to get rid of them. I want them still. I want to collect them still. I just don't technically have room for them, and I need space for things that I am actively collecting. So unfortunately, even series that I like Strobe Edge and I like Shinobi Life. I just don't have any space for them. Just me, always trying to find space. All right, and with that, we are completed with the first 2 shelves that everyone sees in videos, that everyone sees when I'm filming in here. This is the shelf that basically most people know by now. This one hasn't changed much. This one is basically the same as it was when I filmed the first bookshelf tour, but now let's get into the stuff that has changed. The stuff that I find very interesting and is much different than the first time. Obviously, these 2 are my Shoujo Josei shelves. I got more manga on the other shelf, but first, let's go ahead and look at my magazine collection, my art book collection, all the cool shit on my desk, which is a new desk, and all of the cool little art prints that I have hung up on my wall now. Come on, guys, let's go! Welcome to my desk area. Some of you may have seen it already if you watched either my video where I'm guessing my friend's favorite manga, or if you watched my video ranking the 16 manga I read in 2023. The top part hasn't changed much. I'm not really showing this off, but I did want to just kind of give you an idea of what the space looks like. So the art prints are from various different places. The Chihaya Furu one is cut out from the last magazine. It was the last color page from the series. The Kimi ni Todoke one is from my friend Maria Paula, who went to the Kimi ni Todoke exhibition in Japan. This Natsume one is also from Maria Paula. The Snow White and Yona and Fruits Basket one are art prints that came with the 50th anniversary of Hanato Yume. So I just wanted to show you guys what the top looks like. And the reason we're showing you the top is because the bottom is part of my desk. The bottom is where we keep all of my magazines. I love this magazine shelf so much. I love my desk so much, but specifically because it gave me a place to put all of my manga magazines. Before, I didn't really have any place for them. I couldn't really get too many of them because I had nowhere to put them in the first place. And they were kind of just all stacked up at the bottom of my bookshelf. I organize most of the magazines by date. I think the oldest one I own on this shelf is the Aoharu Ride cover from 2012. And I just randomly found that at a Half Price Books. It was very strange, but I was very excited. Other than that, most of the time my magazines come from Kinokuniya. I just buy the latest ones whenever they have them available. Truly, the coolest thing about my magazine collection, though, is the fact that my friend Fatima came back from Japan and just so casually happened to get me a bunch of vintage shoujo and josei magazines. This first one was For Lady. I really don't know what exactly it was. When they were going through it with me, we opened it and it was just a naked lady on the front, and it really made us laugh. But I just have a bunch of random different magazines. We have like Dessert Magazine, Bee Love, Flowers, Betsukomi. I have some from Betsu Frey, some from Lala, some from Hanato Yume. I just really love collecting magazines. Another vintage magazine that my friend Fatima got for me was this Betsukomi one with Moto Hagio on the cover and a color page in the front. super fucking cool. I truly feel like I own a piece of history by having this, and I cannot say how grateful I am to Fatima for having gotten this for me, for having thought of me when they went. I can't remember where exactly it was, but there's a place in Japan that has a ton of vintage magazines, and they said it would literally be like heaven for me if I were to ever walk in. So I know where I will be going either when I go to Japan or when I die. And then this is the oldest magazine I own. This is a Margaret magazine from 1969, which is absolutely wild to me. This is like when the shoujo magazines didn't have fully manga in them. There was still like poetry and short stories and articles. Something I really love from this issue that I got is the fact that there is a chapter of Attack Number 1 in it, which is a series I've never gotten to read yet, and I haven't watched the anime. However, that is just an iconic shoujo series that made sports manga pop off. Really cool to own that. Once again, just feels like a little piece of history on my shelf. The next cool thing I own are these Animerica Extra magazines. This is a magazine that was published by Viz. Animerica Extra specifically became a shoujo only magazine kind of like a year or two into its run. These specific issues are not the shoujo only ones. However, Fushigi Yugi is inside it, X 1999 is inside it, which is just so cool to look at these double spread pages from Clamp inside this magazine in such a large format. If you ever want to look at Clamp artwork in its like peak form, get it where it's in just a larger form than a volume of manga. So that is it for the floor time. I will go ahead and go back up because there's one more thing I want to show you guys, and those are my art books. My art books are my pride and joy, and so I'm mostly going to show these in B-roll with voiceover, so you guys will not see me until I go to the third bookshelf. So I will see you in person in just a little bit. Enjoy the voiceover for a little while. The first art book I have is once again given to me by my lovely friend Fatima. They went to the Reiko Shimizu exhibit and picked up the exhibition book. This is the mangaka of series like Moonchild, Himitsu Top Secret, Kaguya Hime. Basically, no series that we own in English, unfortunately. The only one we ever got from her was Moonchild, and of course that was from CMX, and of course CMX has since gone out of business. In between some of these shots, I'm going to be answering your guys' questions. So the first one is, what was the hardest series to collect? The series that has been hardest to collect that I own quite a bit of, or I guess would be Basara or Red River. Although Red River wasn't as hard to collect because I was given all the volumes by the person that I had mentioned, but Basara has been quite hard to collect. Viz, please come out with those 2-in-1s, 3-in-1s, whatever you want to give me. Just re-release the series. The second art book I own is the Basara art book. This is the red version. There's two versions of the Basara art books. One is red, one is green. The green one's actually harder to get from what I've seen, and the red one is semi-easy to get. I believe I got this one off of Mercari or eBay or something like that. It's not an English version or anything. It is in Japanese, so any of like the little notes or words inside are going to be in Japanese. But this is just a lovely, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous art book. Myself in Comics asked if I have anything spicy on the shelf. Funny enough, I had 2 spicy series on my shelf, and then I realized buying spicy series in person is just not something I ever want to do. So whenever a new release comes out for a spicy series I'm collecting, I don't get it for a long time because I just never buy things online. But I will say the 2 that I had before I ended up selling them because I don't want to collect them, I had Ladies on Top, which is a fantastic Josei Smut series. And then you also have We Can't Do Plain Love. That one is a really good Josei Smut series too. Next up is the From Far Away art book. I got this one off of Sarugia and it wasn't super expensive either. I actually didn't even know From Far Away had an art book. So when I saw it on Sarugia, I was like, okay, let's go. Super gorgeous watercolors in here. One of my favorite things about the From Far Away artwork is just how colorful it is. It's so just majestic and whimsical and fantastical. Elisa from my Patreon asks if I primarily buy secondhand manga, and I will say I think I used to be pretty 50-50 on whether I buy full retail price or secondhand, and now I would say I'm probably more 60-40, and that's just because a lot of new releases are coming out lately and they're longer running series. But when I can, I try to buy secondhand for new releases as well, which is why I don't really mind too much if my series are not in perfect condition. Oh ho, what's this? We have a Chihayafuru art book? Of course we do. This is another art book that came from an exhibition and another thing that my friend Fatima got me from Japan because they love me so much, and I am super grateful that they thought of me and went to go get this for me. I didn't think I would ever own this art book. It goes for a lot online, and I don't really like buying things online at all. I actually prefer to get things in person. That was actually one of the questions someone asked me, if I buy online or if I buy in physical stores, and I would say 90% of my purchases are in physical stores. I do not like buying online. So like I said, I just resigned myself to never owning this, and when Fatima presented it to me, I felt the floor, I felt my knees. As you can see, this art book has some of the most vibrant, vivid colors ever. It is just a beautiful amalgamation of colors for your eyes. I truly love this art book so much. I think it is one of the nicest prints of an art book I have ever seen. And we'll end with my girl and my boy together. The next art book is a Bokura no Kiseki art book. I didn't know that this one had an art book either. Sad Girl Station on my community tab asked what the best or most exciting pickup since the last collection tour was, and it is definitely any of my art books that I have, any of the new magazines that I have, and then I guess manga wise I will say Bride of Deimos, and then you know, just those copies of Basara that I couldn't find, those copies of Red River that I got. This is one more Chihayafuru art book I have. This was from my friend Charles, who sent it to me. I'm not going to show any of the artwork inside because it's kind of some of the same art as the other art book, but this is just another one that I own. And then last but not least, we have the Kaleidoscope Yumi Tamura anniversary book. I still have yet to try to Deep L translate this one, but I'm very excited when I do. Lastly, we have the shelf in the bedroom, or technically the overflow shelf. Most of the titles on here are either ones I couldn't fit anywhere on the other one, they didn't really fit genre-wise, they didn't fit demographically, and I just kind of threw them in here because, you know, I got a new shelf, I needed more space, and he wants down, so I'm gonna put him down. Say hi. My name is Pongo. So this top row is all of the seinen manga that I own. That's like Skip and Loafer, Golden Kamui, Yakuza Fiancé, Summer the Hikaru Died, Hirayasumi. These actually are not seinen right here. They just don't have anywhere else to go because I'm running out of room. Not much more I can say for this row. It's obviously just like seinen manga I really like. The only interesting thing is I have Planetess by Makoto Yukimura. This was given to me by my friend Fire Lunar, or Will. He didn't want it anymore and basically said, I know that you're gonna be reading it for your TBR for the 16 manga I'm reading this year, and was like, I'm not collecting it, here you go. So he sent me this volume for free. I still haven't read it yet, and I still need to, but I am behind on my reading list this year. I'm reading Dorohedoro right now. I'm on volume 6, and it's just, I don't know why. It's taken me so long to get through it, even though the chapters are so freaking short. As you can see, I am slowly whittling my collection of Golden Kamui away. I do actually have volume 14, which is missing in the shot, but it's just because I pulled it out so I could read it. Whoa, crazy. I read my manga. Otherwise, not too much else to say about this shelf. Pretty self-explanatory. Just some good-ass seinen manga. The shelf right below it is all of my shoujo manga that are not from Shoujo Beat or Kodansha or Yen Press or Seven Seas. These are like all manga series that are from discontinued manga imprints of any variety. So you have like my entire collection of After School Nightmare, which is from Gokomi. You have all my single versions of Fruits Basket, which is multiplying, by the way. I think the last time I showed this, I did not have that many Fruits Basket volumes, but now I'm getting there, guys. Anyway, we have all my singles of Fruits Basket from Tokyo Pop. We have Kadocha back here from Tokyo Pop. Land of the Blindfolded, Kare Kano, Forbidden Dance by Hinako Ashihara, rest in peace. One cool thing that's different from the last time around is that I have Immortal Rain now. I have volumes 1 through 5 and then 8. This is actually a discontinued series from Tokyo Pop before it went under. It is so good though, guys. I recommended Immortal Rain in my birthday manga rex video, and if anyone has read it since then, please tell me you liked it because I had so much fun with it. I think it's so similar to Trigun. It's got the same like vibe as Trigun, and I really wish more people would read it. It's by Kaori Ozaki. So if you like Kaori Ozaki, I think they did that one called Golden Sheep and God's Lie. If you like those series, read Immortal Rain. Warning, the manga art is kind of like how to draw manga-y in the beginning. However, it does get a lot better and gets closer to her current art style. But Immortal Rain is so good, please read it. And then in the back here, you have a lot of volumes of Musashi No. 9, which was so graciously given to me by my good friend Riley over at the Omnibus Collector. He went to a store and basically found so much secondhand, like old school CMX shoujo manga, and he sent so many to me. So kind of him to do that. And that was like right when we started to become friends more, so he was really trying to win my favor and he won me over. As you can imagine, all of these series are thrifted or were given to me, or gifted to me, I guess, by other people. since, you know, they're all out of print series, they are not currently being published. So I got these for less than retail price. I really don't buy anything for over retail price. The only ones that I think I got for over retail price was like one of the Kadocha volumes, and that was just because, oh, who put those Kare Kano volumes in the wrong order? And that was just because I saw it and I was like, all right, let's pick it up. You know, you never know. What if I'll never see it again? Now, we don't actually have to talk about this shelf very much because this is not really my shelf. This third one right here is my husband's shelf. Funny enough, these are mostly shonen and seinen manga. And it's funny because he does read a lot of shoujo and he likes a lot of the same series as I do. However, the ones that he collects are mostly shonen and seinen series, which I just think is hilarious. So on this shelf, we have Case Study of Vanitas, Noragami. He's a big Komi fan. He loves Komi Can't Communicate. And then we also have My Dress Up Darling, which is really just... The best way to say this is that I'm happy for him. And then underneath My Dress Up Darling, you also have Blue Flag at the bottom. These are all his series. I do like Vanitas and Noragami, but I've only seen the animes for both of those. I still need to read the manga, and I know Noragami is over now, so I think I'm gonna get to Noragami soon. Maybe I'll either put that on my TBR for next year, or maybe I'll just read it. I don't know. I need to read Noragami, and I liked the anime for Case Study of Vanitas, but I haven't gotten around to reading it either, so. But these are all my husband's manga. Everyone tell him he has good taste, because I always tell him he doesn't. One thing about this shelf that I didn't mention is I used to have Shonen Jump series on this one, and I no longer collect Shonen Jump titles because Viz raised their prices and I just did not feel the need to continue buying higher priced manga that I could just read on their app. So I no longer collect Sakamoto Days or Spy Family, and I was going to collect Akane Banashi, but I decided against that one as well. And last, but certainly not least, we have my clamp shelf. Let's go ahead and move the Maid-sama plushies. By the way, I was sent these by Little River Co. Thank you once again for sending these. They're very cute. I'm actually not even a huge fan of Maid-sama anymore. However, there's something I still like about Misaki and Usui that I'm just like, I don't care if it's technically not the best series in the world. It was formative to me. The clamp shelf in all its glory. Last time I showed you guys the clamp shelf, I think I really only had Tsubasa and card captors, but now we've kind of grown. So for card captors, I have volumes 1 through 6 now. I think I only owned 3 and 4 still from when I started collecting back in like 2006. And then those are the ones that I actually kept. I think it's 3 and 4 because those are the only ones with the old Tokyo Pop label, and I would have bought those myself. Now we have a couple volumes of xethrocc, which I always say the X. And then I have volumes 1 through 7 of Chobits. I actually don't know how many volumes Card Captors and Chobits are, so I'm not sure how close I am to owning the entirety of both of these. I think Chobits only has like 1 or 2 more volumes, and I'm really not sure about Card Captors. I need to look into that because I feel like I'm close to owning them, but I'm not sure. Obviously, I am nowhere close to owning the entirety of xethrocc. I only have volumes 3, 4, and 6. I'm not sure if I want to keep collecting this one just because there's so many volumes of it and I already have so many volumes of Tsubasa. So maybe if I do collect this, it will be when I like get the omnibus versions or something. We do have new editions of Tokyo Babylon and Magic Knight Rayearth, which I have started collecting. The Tokyo Babylon versions are the premium collection. Someone did ask me about whether or not the illustrations inside were new, which is not the case. It is just the volume covers, which is why they don't really look like clamp art. They have those for XXXholic, and I think they have them for Magic Knight Rare too, but I don't remember what else they have them for. And then lastly on the shelf, manga-wise, we have my singles of Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles. I almost have the entirety of this series. I am only missing volumes 21 and 22. And once I have those, I will have the entire series, which I have been collecting since I started collecting manga in like 2008. And then I have this little chi from when I went to Epcot, and I went to the Japan World. I don't really know like what the Epcot places are technically called, but I got this from Epcot when I went in 2008 for a school field trip to Florida, and I've had her ever since. She's a little crusty dusty, but that is because my cat likes to attack her. All right, last thing I'm going to show you guys is what's in the 2 boxes of overflow manga, I guess is what I will call them. Otherwise, we're almost about to wrap up. I will meet you in the other room once again and say sayonara after I show you guys what's in these boxes. And these are the last boxes that have manga that I just don't know what to do with right now. This is the Gwen Guiguno Orchestra, which is by Kaori Yuki. I haven't read it yet. I actually just got volume 2, so now I could read volumes 1, 2, and 3, which yay. The other thing that's in here are volumes 1 through 7 of DN Angel. I have 1 through 4 of the Maid-sama volumes from Tokyo Pop before it got picked up by Shoujo Beat after Tokyo Pop went under. Those volumes are actually some of the oldest volumes of manga that I own, along with my Card Captors ones. And then in the other box, it is literally just 2 manga. It is volumes 1 through 17 of Otamen, which I still haven't finished. I just put them in here because it's a long series and I needed it off the shelf. And then we also have volumes 1 through 11 of Witch and the Beast, which has since gone on hiatus. So I decided to put it away because there won't be any new volumes anytime soon because the author has gotten sick. So I decided to put it in the boxes. And with that, we have come to the end of the video. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm sorry if this was too rambly, too all over the place. I did not script this one out at all. I just generally had an idea of what I wanted to talk about. So this video is not going to be as organized as my usual videos, but I hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. I hope you got to see kind of like how I organize things, the stuff that I like, and maybe some recommendations for your own collections. I also hope I answered any questions you may have had as well. But other than that, thank you, my Hojos, for watching. Welcome to any new Hojos. Read Chihayafuru, guys. Come on. Come on. You haven't read Chihayafuru by now? Do it. I have said this so many times. Read Chihayafuru. Read it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.